Okay, continuing our coverage of SVG, we're still looking at the path element. As you saw, most of the information about how to draw goes in the data attribute, which is D. And we looked at how to draw lines and the basic curves, and now we're going to go ahead and look at the arc. Now, unfortunately, this is really complex and has a lot of parameters. And I'll show you parts of the MDM, Mozilla Developer Network tutorial, and then I'll play with this a bit in Dreamweaver so we can look at it. So the syntax for the arc is either capital A or lowercase a, and again, if it's lowercase a, then it's going to use relative coordinates. So it has about 6 parameters here. The first two, Rx and Ry, are the radiuses like we have in an ellipse. So an ellipse has 2 radiuses. If the radiuses are the same, then we're talking about a circle. And then we have the x-axis of rotation, and for you to see this you have to have an ellipse. If you have a circle you won't see this because it's actually rotating it. So if you think about having an ellipse like an egg standing on its edge, and then as I rotate it, it falls over sideways, right? So if this is a circle and you rotate it, you won't see it as easily. So we'll play with that directly. Then we have 2 Boolean flags, the large arc flag and the sweep flag. These have to be either 0 or 1, and they're not parameters. You can't have 0.5 or anything like that. They're basically flags, and that means they're off and on. They're Booleans. And it turns out that when you have 2 binary values, 2 Booleans that can either be true or false, you have a total of 4 combinations. So this can be 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1. And each of those 4 combinations is going to determine which part of the 4 possible arcs actually gets drawn. Finally, these last 2 parameters are the endpoint of the arc. So like most of these things, you have a context point where you already moved to that point and you're drawing the arc from there to here. And again, if we use the relative form with the lowercase a, this is an offset from the point rather than an absolute point. Okay? Alright, real quickly, this is from the MDN arc tutorial. And notice that in each case the arc has the same radii, 45, 45, which makes it a circle. And then it's not rotated at all, so 0, 0 for all of those. That's the 3rd parameter. And then these are the 2 control points, so 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, and 1, 1. Okay? And if you look over here on the chart, then you can see how the control points determine which part of the arc gets drawn. Now in this case, the arc is being filled. Okay? So if we look here, this is 0, 0. Basically, the arc being drawn is this portion here. If we come over here to 0, 1, the part being drawn is from here around. If we come over here, the 1, 0, then let's see. You know what? I should be more careful because long sweep is first, right? So this is going to be 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1. Okay? And so in this case of 1, 1, this part of the arc is drawn. So that's what those 4 values do. I'm sorry, those 4 combinations of the 2 values do. And then you can see that we've used a different color, so you can see that pretty well here. Okay? So you might want to use this as a reference. It's right out of the MDN arc tutorial. I should have fair usage for this to put it in the video since it's the only part that I'm adding. Alright, let's go to Dreamweaver and play a bit. So I've created my own series of arcs here, and kind of following the idea of the tutorial, I have them in 4 different colors, and I set my fill to be transparent so we couldn't see it. So let me go ahead and just comment some of this out here. And we'll just start with the first one, and then we'll add them as we go, and that might help to understand better. And then we might tweak some of the parameters as well. Okay, so I'll save this. I have one working arc. If I pop over here, that's what we're going to see eventually, but when I reload, it'll just show the first one. So here's my first arc, and again, the code for that is we move to 200, 200. We draw an arc with an X and a Y radius of 200, which means it'll be a circle, not an ellipse. We're not rotating it. And then we have our long sweep, and I forget what the other one is, but the two controls. And so for the first one, they're set 0, 0. And then the endpoint, we're going from 200, 200 to 400, 200. Okay? Let's go ahead and just real quickly, I'll play a little bit with this, then I'll put it back. So let me go ahead and make it an ellipse by increasing this radius to 300. So let's go ahead now and render that. There you go. So you can see that it changed. It's no longer part of a circle, it's part of an ellipse. And let's go ahead now and do the rotation as well here. So now that I have an ellipse, I should be able to see the rotation a little bit better. And I'm not really clear if this is pi radians or degrees. I'll try degrees here, and we'll see what happens. So I didn't try this yet before I did the tutorial. Usually I kick myself in the ass when I do that, bite myself in the ass when I do that. Alright, here we go. Let's see if it rotates. It did change. It didn't seem like it really rotated, did it? Alright. Alright, well, let's go ahead and explore those points first, and then, oops, sorry. Got the wrong window. Let me put this back. And instead of doing this one at a time, I'm just going to go ahead and uncomment all of this. Oops. God, bloody hell here. Drop the mouse. There we go. So now I have all four of them set. Again, they're all identical, except that we have these sweep Booleans set differently, right? So 0, 0 we already saw, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1. Okay? Alright, let's go ahead, render this now. And this actually is a full circle, it's just off the screen because of the way I positioned it, okay? So don't worry about that. Alright, now you can see that basically I have 1, 2, 3, and 4 possible arcs here from the two intersection points, and that's what the controls do. They pick which one I'm going to draw, okay? And again, this is not filled. If I filled it, it would cover the, the last one filled would cover some of the others, so that's not going to work too well here. Okay, let's go ahead now and play with the whole thing. So why don't we make this bigger. Again, I'm going to keep them all the same here so we can see the relationship. So let's start by making a larger radius here. And let's see, that's going to be on the Y radius. I probably should have changed the other one because I'm already off the screen, but we'll see what it looks like. Oh, there we go. Okay. So now I have this, and now it'll be interesting to see if I change the rotation, if I can rotate it back or not. Again, I'm not clear as I do this if the rotation, oh, actually I forgot to fix this one. Let's go ahead and make that 0. Whoops. Almost seems like it didn't render that. Kind of weird. That didn't seem to have any effect. Let's see. Well, I just don't know what to do here. Okay, so let's do a real gross rotation. We'll do 90, and I'll rotate all of them, and we'll see what happens. So again, this parameter I'm changing is supposed to rotate the figure, and I'm not getting anything with it. So I'm doing something weird here that's not doing it right. I'm also kind of wondering why I'm getting circles and not ellipses here. Let's see, 200 by 400. Let me just check my reference here again. So yeah, so radius X, radius Y, X-axis rotation, that's the one that I just changed. And then the two sweep flags, and then the XY points. So I'm not sure why it isn't rendering as an ellipse. See, this is clearly not an ellipse. That's more like a circle, isn't it? Alright. Just in case here, let's go ahead and kill. Well, I don't mind when I mess up when I'm coding, but this is kind of annoying here. Alright, saved. Let's try again, preview in Firefox. And, okay, so I wonder if I'm wrong about the parameters. So, let's see. So those are the two radius. Oh, shit, I didn't change the radius. I changed the point that it started at. Oh, that's really silly, isn't it? Okay, let's go ahead and put this back to what it was. So you know what I was doing the whole time? I was changing the start point. So we'll put that back. Let's save it. Let's take a look at that. I usually just leave it in when I made a mistake. I'm not sure if I will here. We'll see. I might go ahead and leave this in. Alright, now that I figured it out, I think that it's going to work out. Okay, now to change an ellipse, we want to change this. So now the one radius will be twice as big as the other. We should get a nice ellipse. Let's go ahead and see if that works. Reload. There we go. Okay. And so now I'm going to try and also rotate it, and so that should work. The reason it didn't rotate before is you couldn't really see it. It did rotate, but it's a circle. If you rotate a circle, you can't really see any difference there. So, oh, and it's already rotated too, didn't I? Forgot about that. Alright, well, let's take the rotation out and see what we get now. So that'll be the same as rotating it again. There we go. Okay. And let's just try one more here. So this is the rotation. Let's make it 45. Okay, looks good. There we go. That's kind of what we'd expect. Okay. So again, this is pretty complicated, and although you could probably figure it out by hand, I think we're at the place now where if you're going to have a lot of this, you're going to want to use a tool like Inkscape or Adobe Illustrator or Photoshop to draw these kinds of things. Alright, sorry about my confusion there, but you know, we learn from experimentation, and I usually try to leave my mistakes in there to encourage you to use your own to learn from. That sounds pretty classy, right? Okay, I'll see you in the next one.